It's now time for a very important conversation, one that has dominated headlines all through the week. And it doesn't look like there's any hope in sight. Maybe I may be wrong. We want to discuss the transportation sector right now and all the other challenges pertaining to it. But before we delve into what our guests, have for us in terms of their analysis of the situation, we have a report for you, chronicling the issues as it pertains. Let's take a view at this.
The rush to beat Thursday morning traffic resulted in disappointment for hundreds of commuters in Accra. The frustration at the Teshi Mobile Junction was evident in the long queues and extended periods of waiting.
When I was coming, I get there were plenty people there. There was no car. So I've decided to take to the Teshi here to see if I can get another car to continue to 37. Still, I'm here. I came to the roadside around 6 something. I'm still here without car. People are struggling, fighting to get a vehicle. So the challenges here is too much, Masa. It's not easy. There are people here. If you go to Nungwa there are plenty people, sea of people there looking for car. They don't get it. They don't find car. So the transport problem there, we have it. And many of the drivers, if they are going to 37, they will take to station here. Then they will, because they want more money. So when they take from Nungwa, they load from Nungwa to here. Then they will drop people here and take 37 people. So instead of paying 6 cities to 37, you end up paying maybe getting to 10 cities.
Actually, 5 hours be this from here to Agugbrosi. We didn't even get car right now, and people are suffering for here about car early in the morning, and traffic too is even how it is even worry us. It's not easy. So I'm begging they should help us about the transport issue so that we can be getting it easier for Teshi Mobile here.
At the Nungwa Junction terminal, commuters shared similar experiences, calling on government to urgently intervene and ease the challenges associated with accessing public transport during peak hours.
Transport issue here is very difficult, very, very difficult. You come here and try to board a car, but you wait more than 15 minutes to 30 minutes before you get the car. Yes, I'm going to Sakumuno here, just Estate Junction here. Sometimes see the crowd, you'll be fighting about getting a car. It's very difficult. Transportation issue here is very difficult. So I don't know if government have something to do about this, so that it will calm this situation. It's very, very difficult, especially in the morning when we are going to work. We find it difficult.
Accra Mayor Michael Nikbakpo Alote, in a reaction, has assured residents that the government is taking steps to secure additional buses, a move he says will help reduce the pressure on commuters in the coming days.
Is bringing electric buses. We are starting the first metro transport in Accra, which we are going to have a very cheaper fares. So you should pray. The mayor has a good thing to offer the people of Accra. We are bringing the first metro transport. It's electric bus, so we don't buy fuel. So with 3 CD, 4 CD, you can go wherever you want to go. And the price is going to be the same. If you pick the car from Accra to Circle, it's the same. If you pick a car from Accra to Kaneshi, it will be the same. So it's something that we are going to do. We are looking at.
According to the Minister of Transport, Joseph Bukari Nikbe, the current situation stems from withdrawal of buses that were temporarily deployed during the Yuletide. He noted that a few of the buses have been redeployed to heavily affected routes to address the challenge.
We are looking at the daily basis movement and seeing if we need to add more, then we'll add more. Again, we are also at the verge of seeing how we can get the private sector to bring in more of the buses and other vehicles to be able to help when it gets to peak hours in the mornings and in the evenings. But we have called back. When we withdrew the services, we saw the tension it created, and we have called back some of the buses to start again making their movements. We are studying the ground to see whether they will need more, or we will have to continue with the skeletal or the small number that we have operating for now.
So that was the Transport Minister, Joseph Bukari Nikbe, and then the report there filed by Manuel Ayama, putting together a number of things that happened with various places when it comes to transport issues in the capital yesterday. But we are going to have a detailed conversation on that in studio, so you'd want to join us with your thoughts, submissions and comments via our WhatsApp line, because you are part of it later on the show. We'll also be giving you the chance to tell us how you've been commuting, the challenges you've been facing as an individual in the city or across the country. But in studio is Dr. Elvis Jabo, who is the first transport analyst. We'll be sharing details, or he'll be giving us his insight into what is happening in the capital and also the country at large. Also, we have Alhaji Abbas. Alhaji Abbas is a household name. He's a public relations officer of the GPRTU. We also be having Justice Case upon Public Relations Officer for Ayalolo Bus Operations later on the show, maybe via Zoom, and also Mubarak Watara, Head of Corporate Communications, Metro Mass Transit. All of them to also add up to this conversation. Let's find a lasting solution to it. We know that the Vice President today will be engaging leadership of the transport sector to also find a lasting solution to the problem. But good morning, gentlemen. How are we doing?
Morning.
We are doing fine. Alhaji Abbas, your people have actually been accused of charging exorbitant fares during this period. Let me start with you first. Okay. Alhaji Abbas, what do you have to say about this?
Because you've run away from me. It's been a long time you don't visit. Yeah. And they are our people, but not our people.
Okay.
You see, it's all because there are certain laws which are not working, which has brought us this far. If you look at the LR 2180 or Road Traffic Regulation 2012, you look at Regulation 121, it has stated plainly, clearly, who is supposed to drive a commercial vehicle, pick people and take money. Because that law is not working, we call them floating drivers. Anybody who buys car, put it on the road, and that's what he wants. That is what has brought us this far.
Wow.
Yes, that is what has
the
brought
people
us this
we are
far.
seeing who ideally from Circle to Amasaman will cost 6 cedis or 6 cedi 50 pesos, so they are charging 10 Ghana cedis.
They don't belong to any association, any union. The government did that to identify whoever does anything wrong or any contravention of one of the laws. He could be traced and make sure right things are being done. Here we are. We have most of these people working. They are working freely. They are creating programs, charging more than what they are supposed to charge. You can never find any driver who belongs to any transport union, transport association, who will do any of this, because he knows very well that if he does, he could be reported and he could be punished for doing the wrong thing.
But can't they be taken out of the system?
Well, today we are going to meet the Transport Ministry. I'm happy you are aware the Vice President is meeting us. We are going to present things that we believe will block all these bad characters, things that we believe will bring all these things to the past.
Oh, nice.
So let's meet and see what will come out of it.
Thank you for that great intro. And Doc, I trust you are doing well. Let me find out from you. Is it an issue that you would say just started or it's been there for a very long time? And how are we now facing it, like the crisis has hit us hard, to the extent that people are now stranded at various bus stops or bus terminals?
I wouldn't say it's new. It's been a growing problem. The reason being that we, over the years, have failed to actively invest in mass public transit. We've made attempts. There was the BRT, there was Ayalolo, but if you really, really look into it, you realize that we haven't done any sustainable investment in making sure that people are being transited. There's also the discussion where at some point we wanted to improve the buses of GPRTU drivers and get them newer buses. All of these initiatives in the last decade has not happened. What has happened over the years is that we've rather invested in improving the roads, expanding the roads. You can go to Pokwasi, go to the motorway. And what that does is that more and more vehicles on the road. If you do the survey, what we consistently find is that in the mornings you find vehicles with single and dual occupancies, cars that can carry 4 or 5 people, just as 2 or 1 person moving from Kaswa to Accra. The more these things happen, the more it creates congestion on the road. And so one of the key sources of the current problem we have is that congestion has increased so much that the turnaround time for public transport, which is our trotros to go from one destination to another, is become longer. If you go to routes like Kaswa, over the years, when they had serious congestion problems, they introduced contraflow, where MTTD would allow vehicles on the congested road to use the free lane so traffic will move faster. Once that is done, the turnaround time becomes shorter because it will take a driver a shorter time because he's not going to be stuck in traffic for that long. It looks like that solution is not only for Kaswa now. It's needed in all the other routes because there's more traffic on all the other routes. You go to Shiashi and one lane is choked and barely moving and the other lane is completely empty. There's not a single vehicle there. If we do not deal with the congestion, we can't have enough vehicles to take all the people because even if we do, they'll all be stuck in the same congestion. And so once we're not doing mass transits, once individuals are constantly using their own cars and there's only a few people in there, we're going to have this problem. It means that demand is rising so much that the supply of vehicles we have, even personal vehicles, even the Ubers and Bolts and Yangos, is not able to deal with our problem.
So it's a congestion problem in your view that has now become a demand and supply, which now means that, you know, we are not able to, drivers are not able to go and come as frequently as they would. What, in your estimation, used to be the average commute time, and how many or how often could drivers, you know, take or load passengers to a destination and come back in a day?
I would use a typical route like Medina to Accra because it has one of the high traffic congestion. But what usually would happen is that from most of the surveys we've done in the past, passengers will tell you, if I'm by the road at 6 a.m., traffic is lower, so they can get to Accra by 7 a.m. That's usually the time from Medina to Accra. If you wait until 7, it means you'll be in traffic for like an hour and a half, 2 hours. What's happening now is that if you get to the road by 6 a.m., there's no vehicle to carry you.
Why?
Because the vehicle that left, which was expected to have gone to Accra and come back, is still not yet in Accra.
It's caught up
It's
in
still
traffic.
stuck in traffic.
Exactly.
Wow.
So when you get to the station, there's no vehicle. So the queue starts piling up. So you get to the station hoping to get a car at 6, you get a car at 7. It means the number of people who would have come becomes longer. So our queues are getting longer. If you go to Medina, the queues under the overheads have never been that long.
Wow.
And that's not because vehicles have all of a sudden vanished from the city. We've not heard of any scrappage program by the government to say that, oh, GPRTU drivers have lost vehicles. No. The vehicles that are being used is their bread and butter.
Well, and Abbas is here, so let me ask him that, Alhaji Abbas, is it that you don't have enough vehicles? Your men have now packed their vehicles. They're like, we won't do the job anymore. Is that the case?
That is not the case. No, I've said earlier, I say we have been experiencing this traffic congestion during Xmas festive period and first 1-2 weeks in the New Year's period. This has been reversed for a very long time. It's just that this year's one has been a little bit serious than what we've been experiencing.
So your drivers are working?
Our drivers are working, my brother. It's not true also that some of our people have parked their vehicle, creating artificial shortages. It is not true. It is just not true.
So will you side with Doc that traffic is also created?
Exactly. That is exactly what is the problem.
Interesting. I mean, we have Mohammed Mubarak Ouattara on the line, also Justice K. Safo, Public Relations Officer for Ayalolo. But Mr. Abbas Imoro, there are concerns also that some drivers under GPRTU, because they want to maximize profit, have now resorted to what they refer to as short distances. So, for example, they are going from point A to point B or point D, but they'll stop at B, you know, suggest that you have to pay a different fare even though the final destination is D. I'm sure these concerns have come to you as an association. What are your responses to it?
It is not true. This is coming from GPRT. I've told you we have some laws governing the transport industry. No GPRT member, because you know every GPRT union is with their leadership, who allow their people not to load to where they are supposed to go and be loading anyhow. No union will allow that. It is the floating drivers.
How do you identify them?
Yes, because we have our members and we make sure if you are supposed to load from La Paz to Accra, we have a station also who loads from La Paz to Circle. They might not allow you to pick their passengers. You too might not allow them to pick their passengers. That is how the system is. You pick your people, we also pick our people. So we know the floating cars also, who doesn't belong to the unions, who just run just by the main road, have somewhere turn around and be picking on the main road as well. This is how we identify that this issue comes from the floating drivers. They don't belong to any society or group. One floating driver can start the journey from Kaswa. He will come to Circle. When he gets to Circle, then he turns to Tema. From Tema, he will come to Medina. Medina, he will go to Dodua. So this
really?
Yes. So
those are the ones creating the problem.
Yes. So these are the short people. But any union member who is supposed to load from a particular place to a particular place, there's no way you could be ignoring where you are supposed to go. Don't forget that those union members who load, they are the sympathizers. They are the people, because if you are to load from, say, Accra to Amasaman, you are supposed to load those people going to St. John's, Ufanko, Pokwase. They have to join your yes. Yeah. So you serve all these people. But here is a case, these people will just from Circle, they come to Achimata, from Achimata.
But how do we identify them? So, for example, how do we know?
I am in the business.
How do we know that this structure is an association member and this is a floating driver?
I am in the transport business.
So you can tell.
I'm telling you how the system works. Okay. I'm telling you how the system works.
Okay, Alhaji Abbas, that's a good one. We'll be engaging Justice Safo, who is a public relations officer for Ayalolo, and also we'll be engaging Mubarak Watara, who is the head of corporate communications, Metro Mass Transit. But there is an interesting video that is showing, the cargo one. And I want maybe viewers should have a view of that particular video, because I don't know how we've been able to get to this stage where now we would have to, so that's a cargo one there. Jude, we were talking about it not long ago. This is happening at I think Achimota old station yesterday, and we had one of our reporters going there, and this is from Achimota old station to Amasaman, and even in this cargo, it's being charged 5 Ghana cedis. Yes, so you are not boarding this for free. They are charging you 5 Ghana cedis for this before you be able to be on board. And I don't even know how you'll be able to tell whether you've got into your destination.
It's a very serious issue.
No, but this is a very serious issue. Mubarak Watara, head of communications at Metro Mass Transit. Good morning, if you can hear us. Hello, good morning. Okay, fine. So we'll come to, but Doc, okay, Justice Safo, we also understand is also ready, the public relations officer for Ayalolo bus operations. Justice Safo, good morning. If you can hear us, you are welcome to. Yeah, so thank you so much for joining us here on Breakfast Daily on ChannelOne TV. First of all, I want to ask you that out of the 245 buses that Ayalolo or that is your GAPTI has, How many of these buses do we have on our roads now?
Okay, thank you, and a big good morning to the panelists and all your viewers. Like my MD said yesterday, we took delivery of 245 buses. We currently have about 110, buses operating on our 5 traditional corridors currently.
And if you would want to give us the breakdown, how many on maybe the Medina corridor, how many on the Kaswa, and how many on the Amasaman corridor as well?
Yes, let me mention the corridors. We have the Dodowa, Adenta, through Shashi 37 to the city center. And we do we have auxiliary routes that we fly as well. So we go to Ayarifa, we go to Teman, and all those places. So that's one of the corridors. We normally have about 15 to 20 buses on this very corridor. And then we have the Amasaman Pokwasi corridor. There are 2 separate corridors. We have the Amasaman corridor and we have the Pokwasi corridor, even though they are all on the same route. So we have 20 buses normally on the Amasaman corridor. We have about 20 on the Pokwasi route as well. And then we have Kaswa. We load from Kaswa, Obom, and Ofako. So we have about 25 buses between Obom and Ofako. And then we do Tema Ashiaman as well. We have about 25 buses on that corridor too. So we have Adenta corridor, Amasaman, Pokwasi corridor, Kaswa corridor, and then Tema Ashiama corridor.
So from what you have told me, that means you have all these buses on our roads.
Yes.
Is that it? Okay, good. So I want to find out from you. I know the BRT later became the QR. Yeah, the Ayalolo. Yeah, it was changed from BRT to another name, and we know it's for you to reduce travel time. Are you achieving that now, or you say that there is a bigger challenge that is also hampering you from achieving that particular aim or agenda of reducing travel time for commuters? Hello, Justice. Unfortunately, I think the lines aren't favorable for us. But Doc, I want to come back to you again. We've outlined the challenges, but now the Transport Ministry is saying that during the Yuletide, we actually released some buses into the system, and that eased congestion. From where you sit as a transport analyst, is that the case? And 2, we getting more buses on the road, would that also resolve the issue?
So I would say yes to an extent and no. Yes, because people need to be in buses. So if we have more buses, people will board them. But no, because if you release more buses and those buses are going to be stuck in traffic, it means that you're not going to get your expected results. One of the immediate solutions to complement this bus release is for a redeployment of MTTDs on the major transport corridors and do what we do on the Kaswa Road, do the contraflow, direct vehicles on the empty side of the streets, so that if vehicles are congested on one side, an MTTD officer will be able to direct vehicles so they can move faster. In that way, even if you put 10 buses and they are able to go and come in a shorter time, you're going to solve the problem. So it's not just providing the buses and leaving the congestion problem. Because one of the things that has become a solution nobody talks of is everybody is driving because there's no reliable means of transport. So if people find out that if I get on this vehicle, I'm going to get to my destination in time and get to do what I need to do, most people will begin to park their vehicles and use these transport. Interesting thing is that in this crisis, the other means of transport that people complained about, like the Okadas, have not been able to solve the problem.
Why?
Because the Okada can only take so many people at a time. It's only so many people that can get on Okada at a time.
Yeah.
And so,
See
yes, the buses will be able to take more people. That is one solution. But if you do not deal with the congestion, those buses that have taken, say, 50, 60 people, are still going to be stuck in traffic and not get to the destination in time.
But isn't it time for us to now ease the pressure on our roads to say, hey, we have to revamp our railway sector. We have to get into other means of transport in this country?
I completely agree. Long-term solutions are one of those. If we decided to put just 3 simple trams or rails from Kaswa to Accra, Accra to Medina or Dodowa, and then to Ashaiman, it would so much change the mode of transport. Just this week, the train that runs from Tema to in Sawem and other places got spoiled at Sachimota. Yes.
Is it a very new one?
No, the blue old one.
The blue old one.
It meant that commuters who even depend on that means of transport also do not have reliability.
Could it be an added factor to all that? Has it worsened this?
You would say that it serves a certain group of people who live in that part of town, because it would only be people who live along that stretch that use it. But it's not, because if you go to Kumasi, this transport issue is a problem.
Before, in Kumasi?
Yes. From yesterday's social media activity, you realize that a lot of the people going from Tech to Kumasi were stuck because there are no vehicles.
Wow. As part of the reforms, there are calls, and following up on Philip's question, maybe Elijah Abbas, I'm sure you probably disagree, but there are calls for the gradual phasing out of, trotros as you have it. Safety concerns have been raised, exploitation concerns, which you have, dismissed, have also been raised. What will be your response to that? And I'm sure both of you would have a take. There are concerns that maybe the MTT, which is for a lot more intracity, should now be the focal point of commute for passengers, whilst we, limit trotros to other areas.
Maybe Churchill is going to do the inner side where we are going to have the long buses do the major roads.
See, some of our roads are in a deplorable situation in such a way that I don't think Ayalolo bus will ply those places, or STC bus will ply those roads. You see, and if you are saying the trotros should not get into the city, but they should run through those villages and bring people to where good roads are, we are going to get a problem for ourselves. We shouldn't forget we are not a developed country. We are yet developing. So we should look at our strength and our worth and see if we are saying something or we want to do something, how we want to do it. These trotros have served since independence till today. So if there is anything to do to prove the situation, the government should have a second look at it and think about that.
And it's also means of livelihood for your men as well. But anyway,
of course.
The MMT guy, gentleman, that is the head of corporate communications, Metro Mass Transit, Mubarak Ouattara, is joining us via phone. Mubarak Ouattara, good morning.
Good morning, my brother.
Quickly, your thoughts on what is happening in the transport sector now. And we also understand that the Vice President will be visiting your outfit today. You would want to tell us more about that as well.
Thank you very much. Good morning to your viewers and your listeners. Yeah, it's true. I think for the past week, we all been talking about the pressure in our, especially in Accra and Metro Mass. We are doing our possible best to make sure that we will be able to ease this human traffic in Accra City and other parts of the country. So what we have done is that, apart from what we did during Christmas, we have increased some of our fleets to some of various areas. A place like Okonglo, Siashi, when in the evening there's a rush hour from 4 p.m. going. Then La Paz in the morning from 8 a.m. going. We've added. Previously, our flights don't route those areas. Then Accra to Tema and Accra to Nungwa. Then Kasua to Circle and Circle to Kasua connected to Circle. These are some of the areas that we've added some of the buses to make sure that we ease the traffic operation. Currently, this is the time that Metro Mass is running the low fleet of buses in the history of the company. But at the same time, this is the time that we are trying to make sure that we change the image of the company because of getting a lot of high revenue in the history of the company. So we are doing everything possible to make sure that we solve this pressure that is going on. And it's not going to be just within this time. And this problem didn't just arise within a short possible time. Some months ago, my brother, you agree with me that when there was a high fuel prices, a lot of people had their cars and were using private cars, so commercial cars, if I would say that. So because of that, there was freeze on our roads. But now, because of the fuel prices is down, those who are having private cars have gone back to use their private cars, and because of that, there's a lot of traffic. Even when we release 20 or 30 buses in a certain route, because of when they are going, there is a traffic. Before they will come back and come and take another group of people that are the station, then it is late. So these are some of the challenges that we are facing. So I think that when our roads have been well demarcated in a extent that it will help some of these things to ease, it will help so that they will be free now.
So Watara, you are attributing the crisis we are having now partially to the reduction in fuel prices. Is that what I get that you are saying? Because now fuel prices are actually going down further. Yeah, so does it mean that we are still
single digits now?
Exactly. Is that what I'm getting from you?
Previously, some months ago, I know at my places, a lot of people park their car just to join commercial car or Kada. But now, because when you ask them, they will tell you that it's because of the fuel price. Fuel is very high. But now, it is low. So a lot of people are using their cars more. And there's a lot of cars in the system. And our road is also choked. So it's not necessary that we say we are not getting a lot of cars. There's a lot of cars. I heard my other brother was saying, look, even Okada are even helping. So we have, what's the name, human traffic. And because of our roads are very choked. Because the cars will pick the people going to wherever to their destination. But when there's a traffic, getting back to come and take people again is also another problem.
Interesting.
And these are some of the issues we all have to come together and see how we're going to solve these problems together.
Mr. Watara, interesting responses there. Has there been any work done, technical work or even study by your transport agency to arrive at these conclusions that fuel prices are down? For that reason, people are now driving their personal vehicles more. How did your unit arrive at such a conclusion?
My brother, I said it's partially. I'm not alluding all the problem to that. I say it's part. Because when we are going to look at human traffic in the city, in intra-city, you don't have to look at just because there is no battle. I hope you understand me. But we have to look at the other problems that is on our roads. So that one too can answer. But as for Metro Mass, we are doing everything possible. Nowadays, we are making sure that most of our cars that are the workshops are being worked on daily basis to make sure that we add up place of cars so that it will help ease the pressure in the city.
Yep. Yesterday, we know that you commissioned some vehicles, buses, to help ease the pressure. Do you have any situational update on it? How many buses are operating? Where are they operating? And how long do you intend to run this for?
Thank you. In Accra, we don't have a time frame so far as it's going to help ease the human traffic, we are going to make sure that. But what my executives are also planning is every 2 weeks we'll review. If indeed we need more buses, we'll make sure, even though we have no place of buses, we are doing everything possible to also support, ease the pressure in our intra-city. So right now, as I said, we've added some buses. Previously, we don't have buses at Shiachi and Okonglo. We added some, we've given them some. Then La Paz to Tema area, we're not having buses at those areas. We're also giving them some. Then Accra to Mungwatu, we've also allocated buses at those areas.
Is this only for the rush hour or it is across the day?
It's across the day, morning, because the rush hour, some start from 8 a.m. to noon, then 4 p.m. to late in the evening. So these are some of the arrangements with that.
Wow. Thank you so much.
But Watara, still be on for us. We will definitely ask you further questions. But Doc, I want to find out from you. From what he's saying, is this something that you think you would want to agree with? I'm sure later Alhaji Abbas will also have to. You want to make
yes, I want to plead.
You want to have your
have a last word with me.
Oh, you want to take your leave? Okay. So that you join the vice president.
So right after the meeting, you have to call into the. You have to call into the.
But what Watara said that now the fuel prices are low. For that reason, we are saying a lot more vehicles on the road, single occupancy or double occupancy vehicles. Will you?
Oh no, I totally disagree with him. If somebody has put in so much money buy a vehicle which he and the family are to use, is he saying the person will park because of the fuel prices? Or the people park their vehicles and they are now using because of the reduction? We are even pleading with the government to reduce the fuel further, because whenever fuel price is being reduced, that is where the professional driver gets a breathing space. So we are praying the fuel prices even gets more.
What should you expect drivers under GPRT to also reduce their fares now that fuel price is even going down further?
You want to visit a dead man's funeral. You see, the fuel prices, we want all to remind ourselves that somewhere in May last year, the fuel was around 17 cedis a litre when the government reduced it to around 12 cedis a litre. That was where we also reduced the fare by 15%. Now, after when they got into the 12 cedis a litre, the fuel prices went up again, and it's experienced some reductions. So it isn't as if when it was reduced to 12 cedis as at last year, May, that was where it was, and until recently that they've started reducing it. No, it fluctuates. It went up, comes down, went up, comes
it's
down.
It's gone down at least 2 times in the
why
last
we are saying
window.
If you look at the 12 cities to 10 cities as today, it's just 2 cities difference. So let's hope and pray that it's reduced further so that we can also do something about it. But for now, look at the spare parts issues. If the spare parts people say they reduce some parts, if you have reduced a spare part of V8, we don't use V8 buses to run our transport. It is sprinters,
and the fish,
the Vitz, and the likes, Ovan, Toyota is. These are the parts that when you touch.
Yeah, but all of that has been reduced according to
it
the
hasn't.
Aboso
And
spare parts.
I'm telling you, if I'm to tell you some of the engines, the prices, you'll be surprised.
Wow.
From last year May to today, some of the vehicles we use.
So the prices haven't changed
at all. I'm telling you, some has even gone up.
Wow.
Oh, some have increased. Anyway, but because you said you will join the vice president soon, I'm sure you're supposed to find a solution to this problem. Do you think that is something we can solve? And if yes, some of the suggestions you'll be giving the vice president, you can just outline a few.
There are many things when we put across, it will salvage the situation. I've earlier on told you there are certain laws which are to be implemented, which are not being used, which people has taken advantage of, because you are going to present it, I don't think it will be fair for me to issue out in this
before you meet the vice
before we meet. So let's give us that privilege. We'll meet, and just after the meeting, whatever comes out, we'll just
look. I was more. You're a big man.
And the meeting is this morning.
This morning.
This morning at
and
9.
the time is 9.
Okay.
So I'll plead with you. I'll leave Doc. Doc will hold the
handle the issues.
Thank you so much.
We'll love to engage you after the meeting.
You're always welcome. I live at Abeka in Achimata.
So it's not far.
I'm just closer.
Oh no, you have multiple locations.
Thank you so much for your time. He's the public relations officer for the for GPRTU, and you're going to engage the vice president quickly, so he will take leave of us. Okay, Abbas, thank you so much for your time. But Doc, with what Mr. Ouattara said about the fuel thing, Abbas has disagreed totally. What's your take on it?
The reality is that I mentioned initially that the use of single and double occupancy private vehicles is contributed to congestion. To some level, since we've not done any survey to determine how much, it could be that people who traditionally, and I know the Metromas has a parking lot around Abosokai where they allow private vehicles to come and park there. And so the tradition is that people who are commuting from Kaswa will drive from Kaswa to Abosokai, park their vehicles, and then use public transport to go to Accra. By his count of his parked vehicles is why he's basing on to say a lot more people. It could be that
are driving now.
Is this scientific?
It could be that.
It could be a factor.
It could be a factor, or it could also be that it's not significant to contribute
to
this. But the reality is that our problem, as he agrees with, is not just today. It's been a growing problem. If you do not invest in your mass transit, you open the floodgates to all sorts of things. Where individuals are willingly getting into cargo vehicles to get to their destination. Transport is a means to an end, an essential means to an end. It's not the goal to move people. People only move when they need to do things, when they need to go to school, do economic activities, seek healthcare, seek education, or even social activities. In this instance, the transport crisis has become very important because people are being hampered from doing serious economic activities. And once that becomes a problem, it means that it has to be given the attention that it needs.
Wow. Doc, we will come to you, but we still have the Lolo Bus Operation Public Relations Officer, Justice Safo, who is also joining us. Justice, thanks so much for joining us again. We had a technical issue there. We lost you briefly, but the question we're asking, the routes you made mention of, ideally, what is the travel time on this route? I also asked that Lolo was brought in to reduce travel time for commuters. Is that the case now, or you think that we have failed in that regard?
Yes, thank you. So like you rightly said, Ayalolo was brought in to ease congestion and to deal with the delays in travel time and all that. Honestly speaking, the BRT purpose has not fulfilled. We all know what we are running now is not BRT. It's what we call the quality bus service, a downgrade from the BRT. So you may ask, why didn't the BRT succeed? Well, we had challenges with infrastructure and financial constraints. So what we are doing right now, and I perfectly agree with what Doc is saying, has to do with the traffic issues, which we need a lot more than just bringing in buses. Because if you bring all the buses in and their return journeys are not that frequent, you will not be able to convey all the people to and from. So like you're saying, we've not achieved that purpose. We've not delivered due to the challenges that we are having. Because the buses, which are supposed to run on their dedicated lanes, are now caught up in traffic with all the other regular vehicles. And so you're wasting a journey that is supposed to take an hour. You are now taking 2-3 hours for return journeys. And then that's part of the problem. So these are some of the issues and the challenges we are currently facing.
Well, what has become of the conversation on contraflow. I know Ayalolo specifically also had that privilege where you could do the contraflow. Is that conversation still on the table?
Yes. So at a point in time, the conversation came up. We didn't come to a conclusion. So this new administration has picked that up, and as I talk to you now, their talks are far advanced to bring in that initiative, because obviously that will help a lot. So this current administration has taken that issue up, and the conversation is far advanced. I'm sure very soon we'll be able to see the contraflow being operationalized.
Justice, can you give us a breakdown of the fleet you have right now in terms of the buses that are operational, buses that are not operational, buses that are possibly in the workshop?
Okay. I think this point is very important because there's a lot of issues out there. We took delivery of 245 buses. About 70 of those buses, about 72 of those buses were taken away by the previous transport minister. They took 60 to KMA, Kumasi Metropolitan Assembly. They took 10 to Sekendi Takradi, and I think they took 2 to Tamale. That's 72. So straight away, the number has come down. And then, we've been in operation for 10 years. This November will be 10 years of running this fleet. So it's only natural that some of the buses will be grounded. Some of them have been involved in serious accidents that will need a lot more money to get them back on the roads. So we have about less than 10 of such buses at the workshop. And we have other buses that have regular maintenance issues that we are working on. So this has all added up to the reduction in the number of buses we have on the roads.
How many of those buses are being worked on?
So it depends, because we have, like I mentioned, we have 5 corridors. So the various corridors come in with their issues. So as of today, we have about, as of yesterday, we had about, I think, 12 to 13 buses across the various corridors coming into the workshop to be worked on.
What are some of the faults, right? I know you are not a technical, you are not a mechanic, right?
Yes.
But what I'm sure as an agency, you should be minded about the common causes of it. Because I hear people say there's a maintenance problem, right? Possibly it could be that drivers are not handling the vehicle the way they ought to. So then maybe we can draw down to training. Do we know what is accounting for the frequent breakdown of these buses?
Like I said earlier on, we can attribute part of the cost to age. Because for 10 years, I bet some companies might have changed their fleet 2 or 3 times.
Yeah, but a 10-year-old bus is a 10-year-old brand new bus. You would agree with me? It's fairly, it's fairly okay to be actively, plying our routes.
Yes, I get you. But you see, the issue has got to do with, when we started operation, we were not getting support from anywhere. We were managing our affairs, everything by ourselves. So running the buses, to take care of all the matters that be, all the operational costs and all those issues had an effect on
yes, you're on the line.
It looks like I'm getting a call, but that's okay.
Yeah. Are you cash strapped? Is the organization profitable?
We will need, if we will need assistance. Let me put it this way: we will need assistance to deliver effectively on our mandate. We will need assistance because the structure, the makeup of the organization was in a way that we're supposed to receive assistance, which I must say has not been forthcoming. So we will need assistance to be very effective as is expected of us.
Now with the Ayalolo buses, are you still running it with a card system, or it's not like sort of hop on and pay, cho-cho?
Yes, so that's part of the downgrading that I spoke about. You know, when we started the BRT, it was a card system, electronic payment, but we're having issues, like I mentioned, infrastructure constraints and financial constraints. So we downgraded to the quality bus service, which is like an improved version of what the minibuses do on the road. So we now use the tickets, paper tickets, and we take cash.
On a daily basis, how many people do you move from one location to the other? Let me say on the Adenta corridor, on the Kaswa corridor, or
averagely
in a day.
Yes, you know, I don't know if you've heard these complaints, but we get reports from our customers and passengers calling into our customer care line, telling us that buses are overpacked and there are too many people in the buses. They don't have briefing spaces. So we are getting fairly good numbers. I'll not be able to speak to the specific numbers. I'll be able to get that for you later from the operations department. But we are getting fairly good numbers on the road.
So it means that now now that it's parked there, are you still using I know the bus has air conditions and all that. The features of the bus totally destroyed, or some of them are functioning?
Okay, so when the buses came, not all the buses had air conditioning. It was just out of the 245, I think it was only the buses. You know, the buses have body numbers, 001, 002. So I think it's the buses that were from 180 or 200 to all the way to 245 were the buses that had air conditioning. So the buses, most of the buses were not air conditioned, didn't have air conditioning facilities when they were brought in.
Now, how can Ayalolo operations resolve the transport crisis we are having in this country? Because,
like Doc has been saying, we need to enforce either our dedicated lanes or to bring in the contraflow, so that the return journeys, the frequency will be matched for us to take passengers and come back. Because if you bring 100 buses and they are all caught up in the traffic, the people will still be stuck in there. But if the buses are able to go and return as much as possible, I think most of the problem we're having now can be solved. So it's not just getting new buses, but it's getting all the stakeholders involved to bring a holistic approach. So dealing with the road and all those other things that may come in.
So do you still work with the pickup time?
Well, for now, because we have downgraded the service from a BRT status to a quality bus service status, we move when we have the seats are full. You know, the seats are supposed to be 40 seats, and then provision is being made for 40 standees. So when we have the seats full, and then we have some standees, we move.
Okay, you stay on with us. Doc, we have some messages coming in here. I would want to ask your opinion on that. This one says that, can we recalibrate, can we minimize the pragya on highways? Again, can we get the police to be more vigilant and discipline themselves in order to discipline the drivers who are very indisciplined?
Discipline themselves.
Discipline themselves to discipline the drivers who are very indisciplined. And also, there is this opinion that the contraflow that Ayalolo and other individuals have been preaching is that it's good, but it will breed more indisciplined drivers if the police MTTD aim is to cash in. So these things that I've mentioned, do you think that is something that can work around the recalibration of the traffic lights, minimizing the use of pragya or what we are having on the road, that some of them are even carrying pure water, sachet and all that.
Even
they also
refuse and all
block
of that.
the road. And we also have the police getting very vigilant and also being very disciplined in order to discipline the undisciplined drivers.
So first, I would say that we've done a lot of work on our traffic system. And that if you think about it, the urban transport projects by the World Bank from 2016 right down to 2018 actually digitized our traffic system such that we have a centralized traffic control system if you go to the Ministry of Transport and then you go to urban roads. what it means is we could look at maybe making the lights work at a shorter time, given the kind of congestion we have on our roads. But as I said earlier, if we're going to do anything contra flow, we need MTTD to be as vigilant as possible. Because the moment you tell people that use 2 lanes on the other lane, which is free, it means there should be someone monitoring to ensure that not all 3 lanes are taking over, and also they are not slowing down on that empty lane to pick passengers, because you need that to flow so that the traffic on the traditional routes they would have used is moving. So definitely. The other issue is, it's very interesting that when there's a change in government, sometimes some of the directives that are good and functional are taken to take a holiday.
Oh.
Yes, because I will give a typical example. The tricycles were there was a directive last year or last year.
Yeah, that was from
last
Harry
year.
Potter.
Yes,
Yeah.
that no tricycle should be on the highways.
Highway, yes.
Because it's a huge safety issue. It's a huge congestion problem. After the new government came in, there's now influx of tricycles on the highways.
Aboboya.
Yes, it's not as if there's been a new directive to say that you can now use it, but it looks like, oh, there's a hiatus now. We can.
Yeah, the law is relaxed.
Thank you. And so it comes down to the enforcement. In that way, there can be some enforcement to deal with it. The other thing is there's also the consistent breakdown of cargo tracks on these roads.
Yeah.
Because beyond the congestion we are seeing, beyond the numbers increasing, there's also congestion created by broken down vehicles on the roads.
Yeah.
And so to really deal with the problem that is happening now, it's not just a single solution to bring in one thing to say it's going to be the magic wand. It has to be a set of tools that we're deploying
come together
to say that we're going to do contra flow, we're going to deploy MTTD, we're going to release more buses, and then we're going to ensure that even if you do contra flow and buses keep breaking down on those lanes, you're not going to get your traffic moving. And so it also has to be looked at in that way so that we can deal with it. In the short term, these can be solutions we can go to. In the long term, we need to start thinking of how are we going to bring back BRT? If you go to Lagos, if you go to Nairobi, if you go to Johannesburg, Lagos has its own problems. But the interesting thing in Lagos is that Lagos has a number of functional train systems that go from Lagos to Abeokuta, that go from various places.
But their road, mobility also looks very chaotic sometimes.
It does. That's what I'm saying. Lagos has its own problems, but Lagos is still doing a lot in the rail system. If you go to Nairobi, has a BRT.
Is that to say that if Lagos had ignored the train system,
it would have had more chaos on the road. Exactly.
Yeah.
It would have been worse. And so it's important for us to look at other alternatives, to look at the long term. It's still a big problem that we ignore. As long as you have cargo vehicles using our roads, the roads will never be good. Because the kind of load these cargo vehicles carry is so heavy that even if you invest so much in your roads, they would be destroyed in a short time.
Wow. Let me ask you this question. There's a lot of ongoing construction work on our roads. Listening to you, I get the sense that the problem on our roads with all we are discussing is interconnected. You talk also about the breakdown of cargo, particularly on the motorway. I see that a lot. In the previous government, there was a push to, bring a levy for towing.
Yeah, towing, yeah.
Do you get a sense that that would have addressed the issue on, breaking down vehicles, causing traffic, then now affecting the whole transportation?
Because we see a lot
mobility.
of these things, these broken down vehicles, even on the Ofankor in some highways.
Even the one the N1, you know.
So what do you make of the towing system?
Is this something we should bring back or consider?
If you think about it, the idea in itself is very good. But then the question is, if every vehicle by law is supposed to have insurance, what are the insurance companies doing? And that's the question that I keep asking. The toll is one of the good things. If you go to developed countries, what do? If I pay insurance and my vehicle breaks down, my insurance company is responsible for making sure the vehicle is towed.
Oh, wow.
Because I've insured the vehicle. And that's the conversation we need to think about.
Wow.
If we're paying premium for insurance, even comprehensive, what happens when there's an accident on the road is that the car is serviced, the damage to the road and traffic infrastructure is ignored. And so you realize that the road rails are consistently destroyed and nobody fixes it because it's supposed to be a highway problem. Meanwhile, that vehicle that destroyed it pays an insurance premium every month. So we need to rather think of, instead of levying individuals who are paying road insurance for their vehicles, why are we not amending the insurance policy to
so
say
the insurance companies take care of that?
Yes, because I've insured my car. If it's broken down on the road, it's a responsibility because you need to make sure my car
is fixed.
Based on its insurance is taken care of.
Do you know what we're going to do? We'll open the phone lines, but Doc is going to be here with us because he's a transport analyst.
There's so many questions for you,
He's
Doc.
actually also going to help us do the show. The numbers will be on the screen, so you can call, you can share your submissions, your comments, your thoughts on what we are doing today. It's about the transport sector that is in crisis now. We understand that the Vice President is meeting with the transport heads. There are messages that are coming thick and fast. Judy, you want to read some of the messages. But before that, Doc, also another message that has come up. Without the multi-purpose car parked to say Amasaman, Adenta, Malam or Wager that can accommodate a minimum of 2,000 cars each, the BRT cannot be effective. Is that something that you also say?
So if you look at numbers, in the last 5 years, research that we've done has shown that we commute about 1 million people daily. The CBD receives about 1 million people going there every day. What it means is that are all these people going to drive? Are all these people going to use the public transport? And so the parking service is something we need to think of. If we need people to use other modes of transport. If we even want to make our CBD walkable, we need to provide proper parking. That if I'm going to say that we need a population that is more healthy, we need to increase physical activity. So we don't want people driving in the middle of Makola. What do? We need a proper parking service. We need a proper parking system that people will know that, oh, if I park my vehicle here, it's not going to be a problem. Or if I decide to walk, it's not going to be a safety concern.
But this creates an avenue for more money. Because if I'm creating a big space where people can park about 2,000 vehicles and there is a guard there, and I know I'm taking about 20 Ghana cedis or 30 Ghana cedis from each person, and I'm having about 2,000, that's like 6,000 in a day.
Is that an assembly issue?
Well, a private individual can wait to get into this business.
So as of now, it's become an assembly means of revenue. If you go to the CBD, EMA has on-street parking, which if you do park there, they charge you. Lanquantana has introduced it. A lot of the urban districts are seeing that as a means of generating revenue, where you can park on the street and then pay them. But what they are not doing is that they are not doing dedicated parking spaces. We're rather doing on-street parking as a means of raising revenue. But as you mentioned, yes, if you decide that we're going to control the number of vehicles that go into the CBD because it's going to create congestion, we need to give them a space that will do that. The district has the power to do that. By the bylaws, the district has the power to enforce such directives. And so, yes, it can be a collaboration between a private entity and the district to say that this is what we're going to do in order to reduce congestion, especially in the districts within the CBD, AMA, the Ayawasos, because congestion is not going to go away anytime soon.
As the population growth will also
population numbers are going to continuously shoot up. And one thing we need to know is that with the reality of what we have in the CBD, we need to start thinking differently. We can't allow vehicles to go into the CBD constantly, because what will happen over time is that it's not going to be feasible if you need to go 3 hours to go from one end of the CBD to the other end. So what will then happen is give a stop where vehicles cannot go beyond. There's a parking approach, and then people can walk.
Interesting. Doc, let me circle you back to why all of this is even, topical again. The lack of transportation, commercial buses. What would you say should be the short-term approach? Of course, it's become topical. We've seen members of parliament try to, in their own means, provide buses for them. What should the transportation ministry be doing in the interim to address this problem whilst a longer-term solution is being sought after?
So, I'm not going to say new things, the same things. Introduce contraflow. It could be taken from a district and a Ghana police or MTTD service approach. If you go to places like Lagos, Nairobi, and Johannesburg, they have traffic wardens. We don't have traffic wardens in Ghana. It's because we depend on MTTD to do all of that. But the district has that so that if we're doing contraflow, every district knows which routes are congested at peak times. Where will be the alternative for contraflow? Let's implement that. And let's do more of, we have come to one stark realization that we've been pushing for trotros to be taken away. Today, we know that if trotros are taken away today, there'll be more crisis in the city.
True.
Because they serve a very critical role.
Yeah. I don't think the push has been that we should remove them in its entirety. I think a lot more people have said that it should be a gradual phase out.
Exactly. And so what will be important is that more introduction of bus systems, more introduction of government-supported transport. Because if you go to the transport sector and you leave it for the private sector alone, you're creating a system where you do not control economic activity in your own country. Because once people cannot move, once people cannot get to their destinations, how are they going to go to work? How are they going to generate income for the country? And so it has to be a supported approach. In most developed countries, what they do is that you go to the city, there's a service contract for a private individual, but to provide the transport service managed by the government. So the government doesn't buy buses. The government doesn't even buy the train systems.
The private sector does it.
If you go to Stuttgart, the train coaches are privately managed, but the infrastructure is government.
Okay.
So there is this PP
Thank you.
approach.
So I provide the railway, you bring your coaches. First class, second class, regular. You make sure
and
the
it's
service
government regulated, heavily regulated.
If you delay, a new company will be given the contract.
Oh, wow.
So you go to places and even if it's 5 minutes train delay, the company is being discussed on national news because it's a business.
Yeah.
Wow, Doc, that's good stuff. We have a lot of messages,
insights.
and we also made mention of the fact that you would also want to join us with your thought submissions and comment. Justice Safo, thank you so much for joining us. He's the Public Relations Officer for Ayalolo Bus Operation. Finally, before you take leave of us, in the interim, what is Ayalolo doing to ensure that you resolve this issue? And two, we've seen that most of your vehicles are not in good shape. Are you working around? Though you say you need more funds, how are you pushing this agenda to ensure that at least you put your vehicles in good shape? Just as you are wrapping up for us. Thank you.
All right, thank you. So what we've done is we have rescheduled our operation times. We have, extended our operation at the times we usually close. As I talk to you now, we started in December. You can still find our buses on the roads after 9, 10, sometimes 11. Our buses are on the road. We've extended our services to our operation time to help contain the large numbers of commuters that are stranded. And then we, as part of the problem to solve the issues with maintenance and all that, we are still trying to, the MD has been talking to some partners and has been, trying to make some contacts. And then we are also trying to get some services. We are trying to introduce some innovative ways that we can raise some revenue, like an advertisements on our buses. I know if you look around, you can see that some of our buses have some products being advertised on them. Those are some of the ways we are trying to raise some funds to cater for those looking down buses.
Okay. So thank you so much for your time, Justice Safo. We will definitely be engaging you more as we are finding a lasting solution to this issue. But I'm sure that your leadership will also be part of the conversation this morning, that the Vice President will be engaging the leadership of the transport sector. Thank you so much, Justice. Meanwhile, you can also join us with your thoughts, submissions, and comments on the WhatsApp line that has been displayed on the screen. We are opening the phone lines now. You can call us and share your thoughts on what is happening with you when you are commuting from home to work and from work to home, and also what you really think that could be done to resolve this issue and address the transport crisis that we are facing now in this country. Jude, we have a number of comments that we will want to share with our viewers. This one comes as one of the most serious problem causing the congestion on the road is the fact that there are no road markings or signs. Doc, some of the things you would want to take your you would take your thoughts on it as well. And the result is that there is a 3-lane road could take to turn into 6-lane or 7 lanes road with drivers creating imaginary lanes and congestion. Road markings keep the road organized, and that I agree with, because sometimes you get to from Achimota to Accra Mall, the road is 3-lane, but eventually it's made to be 4 lanes. Because the service lane actually being used for another road because of the congestion on the road. Someone says
you can only have road markings on a road that is actual road. For a lot of the roads we have in the country, they are not in good condition.
They're not in good condition.
So you can't have road markings on them.
Someone says that top of the morning, guys. Thank you for the transportation education by your guests. Funnily, the Baumia electric buses started about 2 years after Adenta to Accra runs nicely, but one has to catch it by 6 a.m. from Adenta and 5-ish from Accra back. I don't know how to operate after 8 a.m. or during the day. This is coming from Sam. But we understand that Albert is joining us. Albert, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
You are calling us from where? You are doing good.
From Asareboche.
Okay, let's hear from you.
Adenta cousin. My name is Albert Kweku Brampa.
Good, let's hear from you.
You are doing well, and your guest is very good as well. He's educating us. But what I want to suggest is that, is this difficult for a government now that we are speaking, to say that this is a security issue? Students, you can see students, our own students are in the queue as at 8 a.m. Assuming that of your ward is going to school to study elective maths this morning, is still in the queue as at 8 a.m. When is he going to attend the class? So it's a security issue. So national security should take it up. Ghana Armed Forces can provide buses. Let me make it clear. There are certain things that we need to talk about. It flats, no curve. Ghana, we need discipline. So can't we put Ghana Armed Forces together, their department, engineering department, all these buses that grounded or parked in the bush? Are we saying that we cannot invite Ghana Armed Forces, their mechanical department, to take up and work on all these buses? Because I have never been seeing Ghana Armed Forces buses or vehicles spoil anywhere before. They always make sure that they maintain it and send it back to their barracks. Have you been seeing it? But you can see police vehicles in individual fitting shops. Why? How do you use a police vehicle to go and give to individuals to repair? We have young ones who are applying for this recruitment. Some are mechanics, some are electricians, some are these auto mechanics.
Okay,
let's recruit them so that we give Ghana Armed Forces to take over the transport so that there will be a discipline on the way.
Point well made. Albert, thank you so much. Doc, do you side with that?
You agree with his point on the role of the Ghana Armed Forces. The national security,
they have set us
on the field already.
On the field.
You know, whipping.
So there's a video that you would see if the video is displayed. There was one at Circle yesterday, and behind there was a gentleman wearing green. Behind was operative. I think it's from National Security Operative. So
can the military, do they have a role in this?
The interesting thing is that if we think of it really, this is a crisis. And it's not just a crisis for, it's a security crisis because, like I said, if people can go to work,
the economy.
It affects the economy. It has serious safety concerns. People jumping on cargo trucks.
With babies at the back.
At night.
Unimaginable.
It's a security issue. It's also that it's not just enforcing the fares, the discipline on the road, the MTTD. If we want the army to come in and support, or the military to come in and support, it's important that we don't push out the MTTD, who do this as their bread and butter, because they understand these routes and these intersections. And so, yes, bring more discipline, but let's find a way to deal with the congestion.
We have George from Tema joining us. George, good morning. Let's hear from you.
Okay, good morning, City. I'm very...
ChannelOne TV.
Okay, sorry. So good morning, ChannelOne TV. And thanks for the education this morning. Okay, I think this issue concerning transport, and to my understanding, I think it kind of looks like a sabotage on the government or something. Because as we speak, fuel prices are down, a lot of foodstuffs and other stuff are down. But when you go to Abosu Kai to buy spare parts, the level of the pricing there is very bad. And then some of these car owners, the sales they give to the, how do you call it? The drivers too is too hard for them. Okay, now back to the issue with the crisis. You see a car that is not roadworthy on the road charging a price that doesn't make sense. Yet, where you are supposed to go, they won't take you there. They will tell you, you see what I are. They will like you, and then they will continue making things difficult for their community. Like, for example, me as people talk, the pain and the struggle people go through when I see them. Last, I witnessed a guy that was being put and the head up to him, the head of the, I don't know, top of the top side of where the door is. Bleeding bitterly just because he wants to go home. He has committed no crime, just because he wants to go home. And right in front of MTTD, this MTTD was, I don't know what to say about that. But this crisis issue, to my lesson, I think it's a sabotage on the government for people to say the road sector is not doing well and all of that. I heard one of the CROs for GPRC or something like that, Mr. Agbado, that man, there are several statistics and several things that were started witnessing him on television.
Okay, George, thank you so much. And that was he's referring to Abbas Imoro, who actually also joined. Okay, let's bring you some more comments. This one says that, good morning, I'm Okai from Bantama in the Sene West District, really. Bantama in the Sene West District, okay. There are government buses that are supposed to be working every day. So what suddenly made it possible for one to get them for free, like Jude made mention, saying, run them empty? Where they just parked somewhere, doing nothing until the cameras came on or came out? If they are functional, why aren't they deployed permanently to support public transport? And if they are not functional, how did they suddenly become available for this exercise? This is where the optics start looking like drama. You don't fix a daily transport problem with a one-off show. Commuters need consistency, not performances. I think the person is supporting you. Anyway, Ernest from Takade. Ernest, let's hear from you. What do you have to say about the transportation crisis that we are having in the country now, and or let's say in Accra? And also, how do you commute from home to work and from work to home? Are you also in that same situation?
Good morning. I use my own car, but
the line is faint. If you can speak up for yes, better.
Yeah, I want to ask a question. Is it that I don't understand, because prior to this month, early this month, where we start seeing video of the struggle, is it that the people are suddenly increased or the cars are no longer there? What's the real issue? I think we should be asking GPR2. Is it that they have shortage in cars, or the people have suddenly increased, or what is the real issue?
Well,
Because how can this suddenly just come up like that? Or if to like give the last caller who says that it will be a sabotage from DPRT or something, because it is not clear.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. From Elijah Abbas was on the show, and he said
refuted all of those claims that it was a sabotage.
There are vehicles there, and also it's not a sabotage. But Doc has also made mention of the fact that it looks like it's the congestion in the cities that has really created. Let's still go on with some of the messages, please. My boss, all these people have been interviewing are only speaking from the book work, but they are not speaking what is happening on the ground. So what is happening on the ground?
So exactly.
People ask them at what time do they close and what time this human traffic. No, I'm not.
We like this thing, Philip. We like this thing too much, right? So
they tend to criticize, but they don't give suggestions.
It does not even that if that's all they were doing. It's not even like a big deal like that. We try to rubbish, intellectualism in this country. Somebody studies the thing. What are they studying? They are studying issues that are applicable to our concern. So you can't just text into a show and say it is textbook. If it's textbook, tell us what your reality is. And
this one says that Good Morning Breakfast Daily team, the Ayalolo, if Ayalolo has 40 seats and there's provision for 40 standing, then what we see is 100 plus, which isn't safe at all. Too packed. I already want to read this comment. See, you are facing a serious crisis. It's too packed with armpit smell. No, you know what I said. This is message on this show. No. That's not.
It's a concern. People have conditions.
But it's true.
People have conditions that are triggered by smell.
But so really,
it's a serious concern.
It is true how packed the Ayalolo buses are, and I keep asking myself that we have failed when it comes to the transport system in this country, because in 2015 thereabouts, when the Ayalolo buses were brought in, you could tell how fresh and neat and cool these buses were. I had to file reports on these buses, I think between the 2015 to 2017 thereabouts, and it was
the card payments and everything.
Yes, it was Frechidi who was the head of communication then. Frechidi. So I'll go to Frechidi. He will grant me interview, the update of the Ayalolo buses and all that. They had a terminal at Achimota.
Yeah.
They have another terminal too at Adenta. And when you visit the and even Ayalolo buses, when you go to the terminal at Achimota, they have a fuel pump there that actually is supposed to help them fuel all these buses. Thirdly, they had a dedicated MTTD with enforcement pickup trucks or pickup vehicles that they will be manning these dedicated lanes. And it was Mr. I've forgotten him, the chief executive, Jamina.
Yeah.
He was the chief
so
executive.
So then if other vehicles come into the lane, they would
want to enforce the dedicated lanes. The dedicated lanes. They had another parking space too at Amasaman police station, and with that,
I think that was the biggest, right?
The biggest.
Yes.
I think the biggest was Achimota. Yeah, but they had another one too at Amasaman police station.
Quite big.
Yeah, quite big. And they had another one too at Ofanko that they could also go and park their vehicles there. So sometimes these things, when we talk about them, they are like measures that we are trying to, we go like a step forward and we go like 3 or 5 steps behind.
People started carrying money and things.
Can you imagine? The transport sector, I really don't know. Emmanuel from Dodowa. Emmanuel is joining us from Dodowa. Emmanuel, let's hear from you.
Yeah, good morning, brother. You see, I live at Dodowa, and then this issue has been there not today. It has been there for a very long time. I work in Accra Central, so I live Dodowa to Accra Central every day in and out. Sometimes I join the Ayalolo bus when it gets to Medina, and my brother, like what someone said, we are being paid like 100, sometimes 120, if I can count. And somebody's unpaid. Oh, it's a different issue altogether. We have failed as a country. I think the idea of Ayalolo into the system was a good one. I don't know what happened all of a sudden. Everything is, it has started in the country. If we should go back to the system when they introduced Ayalolo and how it's supposed to work, it will save us from all this traffic. Because I can stand at Medina for 3 good hours without getting.
Wow.
Yes.
3 hours.
I can yes, Madina Zungu Johnson. You go to the golf lane, I can stand there for 3 hours without getting a car. And when the cars come to do it, you are going to Amra here. You join them at Amra here, and they will stop and they will continue to do the. They wouldn't know do the straight through. And it's really frustrating. When you are coming to work in the morning, it's a wahala. When you are going, it's a wahala. I beg you guys, please keep talking about this issue.
We will. Emmanuel, be rest assured, we will. Thank you for calling. So clearly raises issues at variance with the submissions by Abbas Imoro, because he said that, for example, they are going from Madina to Dodowa. They'll stop at Amrahia and say that they are doing Amrahia to Dodowa. So what it means is that
I think he's talking about the Ayalulu buses.
These are so. If maybe Emmanuel should clarify.
Yeah.
His point, if I got him correctly, was that the trotros.
No, I think he's talking about the Ayalulu buses.
No, he did mention trotros.
He said that he could stand at the station for 3 hours,
yes.
hoping to get the Madina car, and wouldn't get it.
Yeah.
I don't think that is where the Ayalulu buses will.
So this is one thing.
So there's artificial shortage in the system that, for me,
we wouldn't want to. We don't really have the statistics to.
I'm saying that if
briefly on your comment on what you want to make.
So what's happening is that if vehicles load at the station, they'll go to their destination. And that's what Abbas Imoro is saying. But the reality is that most of these structural operators, they are aware of the demand. So I'm not going to go to the station to load. Because if I park by the bus stop, I will get passengers.
So that is artificial creation, right?
Yes.
We are not saying. We are not saying that there's artificial shortage in the system, but we are saying that the actions of some of these could lead to that. So I think the GPRT should come out clear, maybe in the aftermath of their meeting.
No, but also Abbas has also said that some of these short guys are not under their union.
So they need to come out and show us who those guys are.
Kwame, talk to us.
Hello. I think the government, this is the perfect time for the government to implement the 24-hour economy. Because during the day, the labor force is high. And by the close of the day, everyone is trying to go home, to afford and board a car and go home. But when there is a shift in terms of labor, people will be working during the day and others will be working during the night. And this will ease stress on the main road.
Interesting perspectives.
Right.
And now the government is bringing in more buses. And our roads are not many like 4 lanes or more. We use the triple lanes. And you are bringing in more buses and there are more people. You are going to cause more traffic and congestion on the road, which will create another scene, more problem for you, the government.
Kwame, that's a good one. Thank you so much for that interesting submission. And I think that if the 24-hour economy has been pushed, well, it has to go through a process though, but it has to be done. Because if we are having shift systems, and we know that this number of people are going to work in the morning, people are going to work in the afternoon, others are going to work in the evening to the next day, maybe it's going to ease the congestion a bit. But you are the expert, you are the analyst. Do you think that it could help?
So, if we look at industries that operate 24 hours, the manufacturing industry, the health sector, what we need to understand is that they have their own systems. If you go to Valco, if you go to most of these manufacturing industries in Tema, even if you go to UGMC, where they have nurses that come in at different times, what they do is that they have a transport service for them.
Okay. Wow.
They have a transport service that if you're a nurse and you get to Okponglo, there's a bus that will take you
to work.
Because you don't expect you to be waiting at 10 p.m. because of security issues. Valco would transport their workers at different times. Gasem will do the same. And so most of the industries that work beyond the regular 12 hours also factor in a transport service. What is contributing to this problem is that a lot of the industries or services do not factor in transport now. Because what you would have realized, and if you look at the numbers in the past, there were transport services, OSA, Kingdom Bus services, that were transporting workers. So if you're a worker, you have a pickup point, it will pick you, take you to work.
Oh, wow.
When you close, it brings you, drops you at home. What that meant was you will not drive your individual car, congestion on the road will be reduced, and then your transport is assured. over time, those services were not sustainable. Most industries now have decoupled transport, and so you realize a lot of people will receive transport allowance or car allowance or fuel allowance from their companies, so that whether you want to go and take a car loan or fuel your own car, you can come.
Interesting.
In the big scheme of things, it creates congestion on our roads.
Wow.
Oh, so they should reduce the car loan. You know, Emmanuel is Emmanuel has come back again.
Will be happy with you.
Emmanuel, let's hear from you.
Yes. So like I was saying, when you get to Medina, when they will load that they are going to Dodua.
So this is a trotro, right?
Like you be at Dodua.
This
The
trotro.
drivers will come that they will going to, knowing very well that the cars are going to Dodua. They will be loading Amra here.
Yes,
And then
we
when
are
they get
asking
to
if this is the Ayalolo buses or Trotro.
Oh no, with Ayalolo bus they load Dodua Street.
So these are Trotro.
Yeah, these are the Trotro.
Do you pick them from the station? Is it the Medina station or they are by the roadside?
Medina station, we can do Duaka from Medina station.
Wow.
They're always by the roadside.
Exactly the point. Exactly the point I'm making. So see, GPRTU need to come back and tell us.
Exactly, because GPR should be aware.
Because these are station vehicles.
Okay.
Wow, Emmanuel, thank you so much for your time.
What I would say is that
You're welcome, sir.
GPRTU has a task force.
Okay.
What they need to now do is push their members to go and load at the stations, because what is happening is there's a shortage of vehicles. There's a high demand. I would go to the station and join a queue of 10 vehicles before it gets to my turn. But if I make a U-turn and go to Shiashi, I'll get passengers.
Easy.
You know,
so I wouldn't go and wait at the station.
It's
I'll go to the bus
unfortunate.
stop,
It's
get
unfortunate.
passengers, and it looks like a lot is happening because the indiscipline is not. It's not as if all the members who know what they are supposed to do are going by it. So that's also another aspect of the indiscipline that we're seeing. That in the middle of this crisis, indiscipline is with some of the union drivers that they wouldn't go to the stations to load because why would I drive to Achimota station if I'll get passengers under the overhead to go to Pokwase?
The GPRTU, they need to come clear. I've heard people say that a transport infrastructure that is in the hands of entirely the private sector is doomed to fail because they are profit motivated, not necessarily service motivated. I understand, and it's unfortunate because we didn't have enough time to deal with him. He has a meeting with the vice president, and we have to also respect that. But again, the GPRTU can't tell us that all of these people causing the indiscipline on the road are purely floating drivers.
But mind you, it's not only the GPRT that is a union.
Yes.
We have concern drivers union. We
all
have
of them.
committed
All of them.
drivers.
All of them.
They
All of
are
them. All
under
of
a
them.
bigger
All of
umbrella
them.
called the
So
Coalition of
my point is
Transport
that
Unions.
if somebody is bringing your institution to disrepute, it is in your interest to tell us and fish out those. So I kept asking him, do we know this? How do we differentiate between a floating driver? So it is the responsibility of GPRTU to come out and clearly explain
or
to
the
the
driver
public
unions. Let's put it that way.
the driver unions, fair enough, who a floating driver is without an institution or an association, and who a recognized GPRTU or concerned driver is. So the public is clearly aware. Other than that, we would keep
still be having this issue anyway. Isaac from Domi is joining us. Isaac, let's hear from you. What do you make of the transport crisis that we are facing, and whether you also go through such challenges in the mornings or evenings?
Okay, there was a caller from Dodoa. He said you can't get car from Medina to Dodoa. Same applies here. We as a country, we failed because they're supposed to be the congestion exercises. Like from Tommy, for instance, we should have planned as a nation that as time goes on, there will be more people in the system. So we have to expanding our way. But see, Domi is so congested to the extent that the driver who is working from Domi to Circle, instead of him to use like 1 hour, he spend like almost 2 hours to 3 hours on the road. And by that, he won't load from Domi to Circle straight. He will load from Domi to Achimota, then charge you Achimota first. Then when he gets to Achimota, then he starts to load from Achimota to Circle. Then when you try to tell him that you want to pay the actual fare from Domi to Achimota, then he tell you that no, he will take you another fare from Achimota to Circle. And that is costing us, which is very bad.
Are these station drivers?
Maybe increase your voice for us a bit.
These are station drivers. These are station drivers. And
Station
you can't put the
drivers.
blame on them. You can't blame the GPRTU and co. Because the drivers, they are working with time. The driver would spend like 3 hours. If there was no pressure on the road, he would have gone like 2 trips. But he would spend like 1 and 3 hours for 1 trip. Then the driver would do in his own way to charge more. And that's not their fault. That's the government's fault. We failed as a nation.
Okay.
We have to, the congestion charges must be done.
Okay.
People are building by roadside where they are not supposed to build. And the government is sitting there watching them.
Isaac, thank you so much for your time. Doc, do you think that this has hit us hard now because we've not been able to plan, though we have some sort of actionable plans written down?
National development plan.
In the next, by 2030 we should get this, by 2040 we should get this. Do you think that we have failed to implement such plans? That's why this has hit us big as a country.
I completely agree. And the reason is this. If you hear the comments that why is it that all of a sudden there's a shortage of buses, or why is it that there's a high increase in the number of people? The moment you put congestion on the road, you would have more people gathering at the station, and you have fewer buses over there. And so it will look as if it just started, but it's not. And it's because we've not gone by the policies we ourselves put in place. If you look at the transport policy of 2008, we had in there that we're going to do a bus service, which brought in the BRT, which the implementation didn't go as we expected. If you look at the current transport policy, it has some of the nicest things, including electric vehicles.
Charging ports and all of those things.
Very nice, wonderful things. But we've not invested in our transport infrastructure. I'll give you one classic example. If you go to the Kaneshi First Light, the big transport yard there is not a government-owned transport terminal.
Yeah, Kaneshi, yeah, I did a report on it. It's privately owned.
It's a family
that
that owns
Market Association Unlimited. So,
Oh, wow.
It's privately owned. Yeah. And so there was a time they had to like re-gravel the land. It
was chaos.
It was unbearable.
It was chaos. We've not invested in our transport infrastructure, in terminals. We've not invested in terminals. We've not invested in making sure that the transport infrastructure that we need to be able to move people from one point to another point is there. And so once you don't own the infrastructure, your enforcement or implementation of policies is also hampered.
Wow.
Because if you tell me that the stations that are created, you'll be surprised that the stations are created by the unions and not by the government. They rent these lands or lease these lands and say, we're making a station.
Wow.
And because for them, it's their bread and butter.
But Doc, as we wrap up this conversation, and also we are going to follow it up
I have one last question for
maybe you
Dr.
can go ahead.
My question to you is, do you get the sense that the current stopgap approach, by the ministry, is there a problem that when it happened, buses weren't available, right? But all of a sudden, some individuals were able to get buses to fix this. I have my reasons.
So when you look at the way we operate, when the BRT buses came and they were not functional, for many years they were parked. Before they decided to move some buses to Kumasi, to Tamale, to other places, they were parked. So if you ask me, did we have buses? Yes, we do have buses. But if you don't own the transport terminals, you can go and tell GPRTU that allow my buses to use your transport terminals. That's the big challenge.
Wow.
And that's one of the challenges that once you don't own the terminals, you cannot then give access to your... So if you check Ayalolo buses, most of them load by the bus stop. For most of the commuters, if you go to the Dodowa Accra route, they load by the bus stop, just under the overhead. That's where the Ayalolo bus stops. You go to Punglo, they stop over there. Because there's not a defined terminal for you to park your car and get into no.
Wow, interesting. We'll have to just end it here. But is this something we can resolve?
Yes, it's something we can resolve because we have MTTD. We need to deploy, and contraflow should be something that, if you ask me, one of the solutions I'm hoping to happen in the next week or two is contraflow enforcement on most of the major routes.
Wow.
So that congestion can be eased. And then more release of buses. And what I'm rather also anticipating is a conflict between these buses and the traditional trotros, because if you hear some of the solutions that electric buses are going to be released now with lower fares. I'm a trotro driver. I will charge 10 cedis to Kaswa. There's now an electric bus that is charging 5 cedis. It means that the problem will be solved and I'll lose market. So we should also anticipate some tensions and how to deal with it if the solutions we are proposing do work.
Wow.
But
Amazing.
definitely more buses, contraflow, more police, if we want to include the military to ensure discipline. And GPRTU have to release their task force. There's a task force that they have which ensures that people do not pick passengers by the road. Members go to the station. Let's see these enforcements happening so that indiscipline does not create other stress for pedestrians and passengers that are trying to move for various activities.
Doc, thank you so much for
Dr.
your time. Let's bring you some few comments and we'll go for a quick break. This one says, I don't buy the idea of banning tricycles on the highway because as someone saws, no, totally, it has to be banned. Good morning, please. My humble submission is that government should provide military and prison buses as emergency solutions for commuters at 37 to La Paz and Ablekuma areas and do same for other places. The situation in Medina Zongo Junction is hell. We spent 2 hours waiting for our little buses and the churches are always full. Good morning. I am much impressed with your discussion and I want to highlight a few things that will contribute to solving the issues at hand. Maintenance, culture, enforcement of laws in transport sector, discipline by both agencies, drivers and passengers. Note, the country has to be governed by the military. No. You don't want to go into military rule. Then
just throw the towel.
Doctor, you are hosting the morning show. Has a lot of solving this issue if you are given us opportunity so that the government should look at it. Okay, someone says, my thoughts on the current transport system is for Ghana to develop its own transport system. My thoughts, you repeated the message again. So the whole transport crisis sometimes happening, I think structural drivers in the stations join a long queue to get passengers and might not get many trips to pay sales. So they tend to operate on the bus stops, and which is a whole business on its own, from shadow boys to...
The point is that, so instead of going to the station, you rather go to the bus stop and do the peace thing that we're talking about. I know the shadow boys. Those who come and load, the
loading boys. Thank you so much, Dr. Elvis Tre-Jiabo, who is a transport analyst. And also we had Justice K. Safo, who is a public relations officer, Ayalolo Bus Operations. He joined us via phone as well. We also had Abbas Imoro, public relations officer, GPRTU. He was here with us earlier, but had to leave because of the meeting with the vice president on the transport issues. And also Mubarak Watara, head of corporate communications, Metro Mass Transit. Ladies and gentlemen, we are not going to leave this conversation because we'll be following up keenly what will come up as a result of the conversation between the vice president and the transport heads. But definitely trust us here on Channel One TV. We're bringing you update of what will be happening so we can all get the issues resolved when it comes to our transportation sector. We take a quick break here. This is still Breakfast Daily